In this story, we finally meet Jesus. Heard of him? He's kind of a big deal. So, we meet Jesus, and first thing, we see him heal a man of leprosy. And boom, Jesus has just performed a miracle, and then Jesus says to him, "Go, and don't tell anyone what I've done for you." And then it says that Jesus withdraws and goes to be alone and prays. And this is my favorite part of the story. We see Jesus, the Jesus, resting and recentering his relationship with God. And he doesn't just rest when rest just happens upon him. He actively makes space for it in his life by telling the man not to go tell others about the miracle. And that is so telling. Even Jesus, who is arguably one of the most important people in history, prioritizes his rest and renewal so that he can continue to do life-changing work that we still benefit from today.
For me, when I need rest and renewal, I either take a nap, go for a run, or bake something.
I also really need alone time to find some more energy and rest. If I don't get alone time, then my brain gets really, really loud and there's just too much bouncing around in it.
I'm an introvert, so my first gut reaction is to be alone, but if I have the weekend, a lot of times I try to find a way to spend time with people I love, so eating meals with people is one of my favorite ways to rest. Doing art is something that really relaxes my mind, and then I do try to spend some time alone, but I try to consider ways to get my body, my mind, my spirit rest, which often ask different things of me. And it might be that to give my spirit rest, I need to get up and go play. And play is a big form for me of rest because I find that it really reconnects me to people and it makes me laugh. And if I can figure out a way to laugh, I can often figure out a way to release some of the things that are making me tired. And that's been something that's really been eye-opening for me over the past few years of my life, that laughter and rest are really close together.
When I need rest and renewal, there are two things I really value, and I often value them in concert together. The first thing that I value for rest and renewal is alone time. I really value having quiet space to be without any distractions of other people and to sit with my thoughts in quiet. The second thing that I value significantly for rest and renewal are natural spaces and places where I can be in the presence of natural beauty of so many different forms and have an opportunity to consider the symbolism of that natural place and the opportunity for renewal that it presents through the landscape and the meaning that is embedded in every piece of flora and fauna around me.
Oh, I love to go outside. I really like to when I really need peace and quiet, being outdoors, or driving, looking for my rocks. Lately, picking berries. And when I'm in a space where I need rest and renewal, but it doesn't need to be through alone time, I love meals with people and good conversation.
I think for a long time, my family equated rest to betterment of self. And that meant that if we were not doing our other responsibilities, we should be making sure we're good. And, you know, for a lot of, like, my family, I was like, oh, exercising or eating in a specific way. Or like, you know, analyzing or trying to like figure out like how I can be a better person. And sometimes that's all like really tiring and still really draining. And I'm still trying to figure out how to like pause and find things that are actually filling me up and just allow me to be in a space a lot of the times instead of having to be a part of it or understand it.
Well, for like breaks in between homework and stuff, I'll just go and pet my dog. Because, I don't know, there's something about dogs that's just good.
Being around people gives me energy and makes me refreshed.
Other people, and like, yeah, I think really good moments where I feel a strong sense of community and I feel really seen and heard and loved by the people around me. And I feel like I'm contributing something, whether that is conversation or a listening ear or a food dish.
Like taking care of myself, drinking water, washing my face, things that like everything, I know that seems so minuscule, but like, I don't know, the things that seem really unnecessary that you think you can cut out are actually some of the things that you need to sit with. Just like be okay with like the practice of, because I don't know, sometimes that can be renewing in its own way.
The world we live in, pretty much everything is designed for people to not have time to think or stop. I think also expectations, trying to meet expectations, trying to fit into the little like cubicle that they expect you to fit into for like, especially trying to apply to colleges and like all these things, you have to fill out all these forms with like boxes that you check, and you're just, in my head I'm like, wow, they're just like sorting me into a box. They just want me to be like this little human square that like has nothing besides the fact that it's there. And, you know, stuff like that makes it really difficult to, like, live like a normal person and do all the important things.
I would say thinking that there's other, like, more important things to do, that, like, resting is, like, not, like, high on like, my priority list. Like I could be doing other things that, like, could be like advancing myself, either like studying or like learning a new hobby that could be more important than taking time to like rest and rejuvenate.
Like everyone else, I think the thing that most keeps me from taking time for myself is the busyness of everyday life. And I'm the sort of person that just keeps lists and lists of things that excite me to do and to try and to learn. And those things are always calling out to me. I think that we live in a time where it feels like we need to be productive all the time, and I think part of that comes from that. But yeah, just being afraid that there's not enough time in life to experience, do, learn it all.
The biggest thing that keeps me from taking time for myself is that I like to fill up my schedule with lots of things to do. So I often find myself quite busy with many tasks, and I end up just working all my time away, and there's no more time in the day, and then I get up and repeat the process the next day.
sometimes not knowing my limits of when to say, okay, I need time for myself now, or not really knowing when the time for me to keep socializing, communicating, stops meeting the need and starts becoming overwhelming. Sometimes that line becomes blurred, and I really do just need quiet time.
If you are stressed out or overwhelmed, I would say remember to breathe and like just take in like five deep breaths, and think of like, you know, it's the balloon metaphor where like when you breathe in, it's when you're blowing up the balloon, and then when you breathe out, you're like deflating the balloon's air. For me, that would be writing poetry and taking photos of nature.
Take a walk. I think it's the most helpful thing that I do when I get stressed is to take a walk, breathe, be around the people I love, get out of my head, and set it aside for a moment, because you can always pick it back up. It will still be there. And hopefully that pause will give you new insight, or maybe that rest will give you new insight.
Figure out what your cues for needing those restful moments are, which takes time and, you know, self-exploration and stuff like that, but it's worth doing, I think. Being able to know when you need a moment alone, or to kind of like change gears, and also respecting that and being like, okay, I need to leave, or I need to go do something different. Yeah, listening to yourself.
I don't know if it counts as creative, but I like plants and I hang out in my garden a lot. It makes me happy and it's calm and quiet. The plants don't make noise. And just like helping things grow is very relaxing for me. And it's, you know, it can only be a good thing, which I like.
Writing poetry and taking photos of nature.
I think that with the right intention, anything can be prayer. So going into creative things with that mindset make my experience of art and music, which are things that I spend a lot of time doing, a time where I feel closest to figuring out how the sacred works in the world and what it means to be a spiritual being and to live in connection and community with others. I also have found that doing puzzles is a really good way for me to think and do something that's really low energy, but it's like you get to work out the problem with your hands and put all the pieces together. So those are the things that I like to do most.
Gotten really into journaling. Just kind of, you know, at the end of the night. I like to do it in the evenings. Reflecting on my day, the parts of it that were good, the parts of it that were hard. Something that's really grounding. And then sometimes in the morning, if I have the time, if I wake up early enough, just to kind of be like, okay, this is what I want to do, or these are some goals I have like spiritually and emotionally today that aren't on like paper, you know, instead of like, oh, I need to get these things done. I want to like be present in these ways or find rest, stuff like that. Yeah. Also rocks.
What's the most restful thing that you've done this week. And if you can't think of something, maybe you should go rest.
What places do you consider prayerful and why?